I think one of Gray Zone Warfare's biggest strengths has always been the atmosphere and immersion, but if you've played the game for a while, you've probably noticed the progression and task system kinda starts to feel repetitive pretty fast. Cash Report 7? Why is there 7 Cash Report quests? There's probably even more! And this new update doesn't magically fix that overnight, but it does show a direction that the developers are trying to move the game towards, and I love to see that. So the biggest thing in this patch is the new long-term contract system, or I'm going to refer them as LTCs moving forward. Technically, a lot of these tasks did already exist before, and by that I mean the specific type of quest when it comes to elimination or boss eliminations, finding items, so on and so forth, but they are adding 48 additional quests on top of it with the release of this new LTCs system. But now they're kind of separating those into longer term objectives from regular contracts and more of an integration system that they've added to the tactical map. So if you hold M, they're going to be on the left hand side of the map, and it's going to allow for better regional tracking and progression flow, so you're not so confused about looking around your map and looking for that tiny little blue square that has no other indicators but to find some items. I think this is a very key part here when it comes to the developers adding these quality of life changes. It kind of feels like they added not just like new content or anything like that, but more like they're trying to make progress feel connected or easier to follow overall. Because as we all know, if you did play in 0.3, the task system did feel like it flowed really easily and well because you could follow the linear path that was the task system. So even if you were behind and your buddy was ahead of you, all you had to do was catch up in some quests that he can come back and help you with, and then you guys would be on the same quest together moving forward. With the 0.4 update, quests did not have a linear path, only when you started in your initial starting zone, depending on what your faction is. And then after that, it just kind of goes, you decide what mission you want to do, which is great and all, but not everyone shares the same mission. Because one of the weird things with Gray Zone Warfare has always been that world itself feels very immersive, but sometimes the actual progression flow doesn't follow that. You'll finish a task chain and kind of sit there wondering, well, okay, what do I do next, right? Or you complete a quest way off in Timbuktu, and then you open your map and realize, oh, I have to run 40 minutes to get to an LZ just to go to another quest. I think the map changes and tracking updates is going to allow these long-term contracts to try to solve some of those problems, which is kind of a good flow for the dev team and their progression towards a better system. The game's starting to push players towards exploring regions more intentionally, which obviously had a rough start in 0.4, instead of tasks just feeling like kind of like a disconnected, scattered around the map thing, which is what they have now. They're trying to fix what they kind of had in 0.3, but this time more of a flowchart, so to speak. Now, don't get me wrong, the game does still have its problems, right? The squad progression, as we already talked about, a lot of players, I believe, about 90% of people would like the sharing of tasks when it comes to playing with friends, or even just inviting a random person that you see doing a task as well that you can invite to a squad and do it with them, right? The repetitive tasks, I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen the same task over and over again, which is fine and all because you get less rewards, but at the same time, the same quest and the exact same quest design is being used in all the regions, so regardless if the actual task itself is repeated, the type of task is repeated across the regions. And then following that, the AI consistency is still kind of being worked on. Either you'll get one tapped or beamed across the world, or they just can't hit a shot to save their life, right? So quite literally. But the progression pacing still is kind of uneven as well, as we just spoke about, and the AI changes with the visibility system kind of gives us an insight of how we're actually detected. So on the PvE side of things, that actually helps a lot, but we'll see how that works. Now, mind you, there is some good that has come with these patches that they've added, some AI respawn fixes when it comes to always showing up to a location and everybody just kind of laying around and sleeping on the job, it seems like. And then following that, the visibility changes have always been very nice when it comes to Too Dark of Nights. Has never been an issue, right? Because gamma 100, brightness 100, but now Darker Nights update actually has now increased the chances of people using that or abusing that a little lower. On PvP side of things, PvE side of things, you can still kind of use it, which is, you know, fine and dandy for me because it's great for recording purposes, but obviously the immersion factor, if you crank those in PvE, kind of goes out the window. But tactical map improvements, which is always good because they just added the LTC system, and then the magnifier scope fixes. There was a few scopes that they listed that were not correct on where the bullet actually went compared to the scope crosshair, which is kind of hilarious because we all figured that out almost day one of 0.4, that certain scopes were just kind of unusable. So they kind of went through and fixed that. And then the region hover info has actually been more described. There is more information in there, which is great to see, such as like exploration percentage, what kind of tasks are there, what is needed to unlock the region. To get that info, you have to fully zoom out of your map. A lot of people didn't even know that, or didn't even know how to unlock regions as a whole, because that zooming out feature, nobody really did. Because why would you look at everything when you're in this one region, right? And then the repeatable tasks improvements, they're actually trying to focus on that a little bit and kind of break that down so it's not as repetitive. So we'll see how those changes are going to come up, but overall, those quality of life changes are great to account for. I think the biggest takeaway from this update is that Gray Zone Warfare systems are finally starting to feel more connected. There's like the changes that they just added, the AI visibility system and the Darker Nights, which came together, and then now the tactical map improvements, which is the long-term contract changes, as well as a lot of quality of life changes, right? So this kind of makes it so the patches are not feeling so random like a lot of games do, but they're kind of slowly building towards a clearer long-term gameplay experience, which is great to understand and look forward to. I think that's the part that really matters here. Moving forward with the game is going to be very important, especially how Madfinger Games slowly releases their updates, as the game kind of did die off from 0.3 to 0.4 once everyone kind of did all the tasks or just kind of got frustrated with the PvP system. I do like that Madfinger Games does also do updates for the PvE side of things as well as the PvP side. I think a lot of my viewers are also PvE driven, so that helps a lot as well. So I've never seen a game double down on both PvP and PvE side of things, so I'm very happy to see Madfinger Games' developments, and I hope that it's something that we all want as a community, as it seems like they are listening to feedback. Let me know what you guys think of all the changes that have happened as of recently. Put it down in the comments. I do read every single one, and we can talk about it there, and hopefully we can get some good feedback to Madfinger Games for the game we want to see.